Ms Legalista here. Welcome to the video. This time, I tell you, I don't know who comes up with some of these ideas and that they actually think these ideas are good ones. But in any case, you're buying Splenda or you think you're getting Splenda, you're at the coffee shop and you're like, hey, is that Splenda? And they're like, yeah, basically. What does that even mean? Well, we're going to jump into this lawsuit where, I mean, the company actually did their own investigation. Oh, that probably got messed up. Oops. We're going to jump into this lawsuit. Let me just go there. I had never heard of I think maybe I have heard of the coffee shop. I don't drink coffee. So you can consider me to be a bit ignorant in this respect. But let's pop over to this lawsuit filed in the state of Virginia, or the Commonwealth of Virginia, as they like to say. And this is between Heartland Consumer Products, LLC, and TC Heartland, LLC, and Peets Coffee Inc. Now we're going to go through some details to find out who these parties are, who was using fake sweeteners or claiming sweeteners were this sweetener and it wasn't. So as I said, coming out of Virginia, you have the plaintiffs, and I'm getting way ahead of myself here. So let's start with Peets. Peets is a Virginia corporation that operates hundreds of coffee shops and licensed partnerships across the U.S. Peets offers its customers a variety of coffee and tea beverages, I don't drink either of those, that may be customized using sweeteners that may be added by the store at the time of sale or by the customers themselves after they have received their drinks. Now, you know how this works. You walk into the coffee shop, you go up to the counter, you order your drink, you tell them what you want in it, and then you walk over to the side to add a whole bunch of other stuff. I want some cinnamon, I don't know what you put in coffee because I don't drink coffee. Well, that's sort of the setup, it sounds like, was going on in this case too. Regardless, Peets continues to inform its customers that it carries American-made Splenda sucralose-based sweetener offered in yellow packs. Peets further fails to exercise its authority and allows its licensees to misuse the Splenda mark. I feel like we've just jumped right in the middle of this and like I missed some stuff, but I guess not. They just jumped right into it. And we're going to just start calling Peets out as a defendant. This is the nature of the action. And for those of you who are not familiar with Splenda, this is Splenda. You've seen these little yellow packets like this that just say Splenda. And then there was that other pink brand that came in the packet. I can't even remember what it was. But this is Splenda. Okay, so now you're familiar with that. And then let me go over here to Peets Coffee House so we can talk about that for a second. So here's Peets. And this was the thing I was noticing about Peets, because it's now, it's around Earth Day time here in April. And Peets likes to present itself as a good humanitarian steward, a good corporate citizen, someone who is loving of the earth. And so you see this piece over here about organic. Join us in celebrating Earth Week and our ongoing commitment to sustainability, with our organic coffee and teas. Look, use code IMPACT at checkout. So they're trying to cultivate this image about who they are. Look over here on the other side where it talks about Earth Hugger Coffee Lovers Treat. So they're going through all of this to talk about responsible sourcing tastes good and does good. Look at that. It says, at Peets, we don't just make better coffee. We're on a mission to make coffee better. And yet they are being sued by the manufacturers of Splenda because of some stuff they were doing in their wholesome store. But let's jump back into this and see what else this says. Plaintiffs now bring this action for injunction, damages, and other appropriate relief arising out of all this stuff defendant's done, which we're going to talk about in just a second. Defendant has unfairly and in violation of the law limited Heartland's trademark rights in Splenda by deceiving customers into believing the Peets coffee shops carry Splenda tabletop sweeteners while providing consumers with sweeteners for which the active ingredients are manufactured in the People's Republic of China rather than the American-made Splenda brand sweetener product, thereby damaging the hard-earned reputation of Heartland and whittling away at the value of its trademark. Okay, all of this I find very interesting because remember, I just took you to Peets' website where they talk about, how they source products. And yet this lawsuit is claiming, well, look at what you did. You went and got some sweeteners with active ingredients manufactured in People's Republic of China and maybe passed them off as Splenda. So this is what this litigation is about. They go on to talk about Heartland being a global leader in the production of low-calorie sweetener products, including the iconic Splenda brand. Years ago, researchers from an established British college, in conjunction with Tate, and let me make sure we're looking at everything great here. Yes, we are. In conjunction with Tate and Lowell PLC, were researching a new compound made from sugar called sucralose. As the story goes, a young researcher misheard a request to test the compound as a request to taste the compound. Oh, we didn't have on our listening skills that day. What they discovered was that sucralose was incredibly sweet and, more importantly, calorie-free. Yes. By 1990, several food and health organizations approved the use of sucralose in food products, the sweetening ingredient in Splenda brand sweetener. Capitalizing on this approval, Splenda brand sweetener made its worldwide debut in Canada. In the U.S., the FDA approved sucralose for use in connection with food products and food preparation on April 1st, 1998. Yeah, I sort of remember when that came about. Until then, people were using that pink product, and I can't even remember what the name of that is. Once again, Splenda brand sweetener was at the forefront of the low-calorie sweetener market by marketing Splenda brand sweetener to U.S. consumers via the internet in 1999. In September 2000, Splenda brand sweetener officially launched in retail stores across the U.S., aka grocery stores. That's usually where you would find this. In 3 short years after its launch in the United States, Splenda brand sweeteners became the unrivaled leader in the low-calorie sweetener retail and food service markets. Unlike all other tabletop sucralose sweeteners in the market, Splenda brand sweetener is made in America. So you see, that is what they're sort of basing this on. We are made right here. We're a brand made right here in America. Sucralose has become one of the most extensively tested food ingredients in the world. It is approved for use in over 80 countries and used in more than 4,000 products globally. It says it's by far the most preferred low-calorie sweetener products in the United States. In 2015, Heartland purchased the Splenda brand. It says each year American consumers spend more than $700 million on sugar substitutes. Products that take the place of sugar but are low in calories. As a result of its years of brand investment, Splenda brand sucralose sweeteners have the highest retail market share of any sugar substitute at 26%. All right, so you can see there it's sold in retail and food service markets, all of that. So you see how it's sort of gotten its start there. So let's go down to this end part here. They say, as a result, Splenda is a famous brand, instantly and widely recognized by consumers, the public, and the trade. It's got that yellow packet. It's got the Splenda name up there, and people are used to seeing it and using it now. We've got the intellectual property registration here. We've got the yellow packets. Look at this part. It says, Splenda has become a household name in connection with artificial sweeteners, particularly sucralose. Splenda brand sweetener is also well known and famous for its trade dress. Specifically, Splenda brand sweetener is packaged in yellow colored packets, and that would be the trade dress. Let me stop here for a second because there is one thing that I want to mention here. And maybe, I don't think so because I did sort of glance through the rest of this lawsuit. But a lot of times what you will see when they start talking about this is, let me show you a picture. Here is what our product looks like. Here's what our product looks like. And then for the trickery and the fake Splenda, you go, here's what their product looked like, or something like that. So I don't think we're going to see that in this lawsuit, much to my dismay. But I think it says a lot when you have the visuals there along with the story. Like the visuals, that is such an impact. But I think we're going to be missing that in this case. Maybe it'll happen during the lawsuit when they're in court. All right, so let's talk about the investigation that Splenda engaged in to find out about this trickery that was supposedly going on in the coffee house. All right, so it says, despite no longer selling or distributing Splenda brand sweeteners, okay, so it sounds like that at one point in time, maybe they were, that there was some sort of relationship there. That's what I'm feeling when I read this first part. It says, defendant has continued to offer to consumers what it purports to be Splenda brand sweeteners. As a number of investigators have confirmed across selected and geographically located Peets stores, the vast majority of Peets stores proffered generic yellow tabletop sweeteners as Splenda brand sweeteners, intending to palm off the goodwill and association of the yellow color with genuine Splenda brand sweeteners. Ah, the fakery, the fakery. In the fall of 2022, Heartland undertook an investigation into how defendant was representing its sucralose sweetener to the consuming public. All right, so they decided they were going to check into this. This investigation, performed by qualified private investigators, who I can imagine all are going to testify at trial, revealed a concerning pattern and practice by defendant's employees at multiple stores to misrepresent sweetener product as genuine Splenda brand sweetener when it was not, despite specific inquiries to test the veracity of those representations. So here's a concern here, because look at some of the words that they use here. They said, revealed a concerning pattern and practice by defendant's employees, multiple stores, and this misrepresentation, which makes it sound like it came down from the top, corporate. We're going to spread it out everywhere. This is what we're going to do. We're not going to have their stuff anymore, but we're going to like engage in a bit of fakery and have some people thinking that's what it is. Yeah, there's the sweetener over there in the yellow pack, the yellow packet you're used to seeing. And so this all sounds like a setup, like a plan. This is not good for the coffee house. This is not good. Specifically, Heartland engaged private investigators to enter 25, not 3 or 4, not 5 or 6, not 10 or 11, 25. They said we're going for the double digits. We're going up there to enter 25 Peets locations and to order a small coffee. The investigators then asked, what sweeteners do you have back there? Employees at 8 of the 24 Peets locations surveyed offered Splenda by name, despite having no such genuine Splenda product to offer. Now, you could say that they were just used to saying it. They didn't realize that there had been some sort of switch and they weren't using Splenda anymore, that they were using the fake Splenda. Who knows? Employees at 15 of the remaining 16 Peets locations answered in the affirmative to, do you have Splenda? Oh, the fakery. At the only Peets location where employees answered in the negative to both questions, the investigators selected the yellow packet and asked, is this the same as Splenda? The employees responded, this is basically Splenda. I'm sorry. Like, how is it basically Splenda? Either it's Splenda or it's not. I suppose you could say, well, it's the same as Splenda. And so I guess they think maybe that they're putting them on notice. This is basically Splenda. And so if you're the customer, it's on you to then go, well, what is it basically not? Then, like, what is it if it's not Splenda, but it's basically Splenda? Like, what is it then? I mean, because at that point in time, I think my ears would be like, what? I'm confused. Further, when an investigator stated, I'll take 2 Splendas, she was directed to choose her own sweetener from a separate bar containing various tabletop sweeteners at 10 of the 24 locations. At 2 of the 24 locations, employees directly handed the investigators yellow sugar packets instead. At 4 of the 24 locations, an employee added the sweetener directly to the drink, with no affirmative representation that what was being added was not genuine Splenda. At these 4 locations, the investigators then asked, "You put Splenda in this, right?" Employees at all 4 Peets locations answered in the affirmative. You know, it's not funny, but in a way, it's just like hilarious. You put Splenda, it's not Splenda. It's not Splenda. You're an employee. You have now decided that you're going to engage in the misrepresentation that the company is engaging in. Are they paying you enough money to do that? But here's the thing, if you're an employee and this is a job and you need the job, then you go, well, I'll say whatever they tell me to say, because I'm going to show up when they tell me to show up. I'm going to leave when I'm supposed to leave. And what I want is my paycheck at the end. For some people, this is a survival job. And so you do what you need to do in order to survive the job. Heartland repeated this investigation in the fall of 2023. Okay, that's just a few months ago. Using the same methodology at largely the same stores. Some had closed since 2022. The results were the same. 8 of the 24 surveyed stores reported that they had Splenda by name when asked, "What sweeteners do you have?" Of the remaining 16 that did not identify Splenda by name, 12 said yes in response to the question, "Do you have Splenda?" And 1 said that it is basically Splenda. Yeah, that person is like, it's basically Splenda. I mean, in the back of your head, the person sounds like the type of person who's like, I'm not going there with y'all. Y'all know that's not Splenda. I'm not going to be out here telling these people that's Splenda. But I will say, well, it's basically Splenda. Because that's really what people are looking for, I guess. They're looking for just, a Splenda that they can work with. Just a sweetener that does not have a lot of calories, that will still be somewhat sweet and do what it needs to do in their drink. Okay, look at paragraph 32. Look at paragraph 32. Peets did not carry genuine Splenda brand sweetener in its stores in 2022 or 2023. In either of those years, when these investigators were out doing their field investigations in these Peets stores, there was no Splenda to be found. What these investigations revealed was indisputable, unequivocal evidence of intentional misrepresentation of sucralose sweetener as genuine Splenda brand sweetener when it was not. This is more than a lack of proper training of these employees, although certainly it is evidence of that as well. It is unlikely that properly trained employees would misrepresent non-genuine, Chinese manufactured sucralose as genuine Splenda brand sweetener. Consumers who request Splenda by name deserve the real thing. Yeah, I think that's a real problem here. It's even less about it being made overseas. It's about when the investigators were specifically saying Splenda. I mean, it could have been any other thing that they were giving them. But the fact that I'm specifically telling you this is what I want. I drive into a car dealership and I say I want a Toyota, and what you really bring me out is something else. And when I say this is a Toyota, right? Because it looks a little different, or I don't even notice that because it looks the same. And you go, oh yeah, or it's basically a Toyota, but it's not. How does that work? Consumers who request Splenda by name deserve the real thing. Defendants' misconduct deprives those consumers of their choice of product, as well as a choice to not ingest a cheaper Chinese manufactured product. It is important for companies such as defendant to accurately and completely identify its products to its consumers and not deceive them as to the source of the sweeteners requested by name. The fakery. The presence of yellow packaged sweetener not sourced from plaintiffs and available for consumption at defendants' stores only serves to increase the likelihood of confusion present in defendants' customers. The oral misrepresentation of these products as genuine Splenda is obvious in its effect on consumers, but the coupling of those oral misrepresentations with the presence of sucralose sweetener bearing the famous trade dress of plaintiff, meaning this yellow color, that includes the color yellow, amplifies the likelihood of confusion, if not also a singular source of confusion standing alone. So now you're the customer and you're thinking, yeah, I don't know if it was Peets the last time, or I don't know if it was that Splenda that I put in my drink, but I'm not using Splenda anymore because I didn't like the taste that it gave after I put it in there. Or I'm not going back to Peets. That's not what they're talking about here. I'm just talking about the consumers. If I'm the consumer and I go in and it's not quite what I want it to be, I'm not sure who to blame. On their end, though, they're saying you're confusing people by telling them, yes, it's Splenda, and giving them this fakery in the yellow packet. This investigation has thus established that defendant is engaged in and or has engaged in the willful, intentional, active deception. Active deception. So look at what they said. Representing the use of Splenda brand sweetener in Peet's coffee shops through oral affirmation to customers, despite the fact that Peet's does not carry or provide genuine Splenda brand sweetener. It says representing to customers that the sweetener provided in yellow packets is actually Splenda when they know it's not. Failing to notify customers ordering genuine Splenda brand sweetener that what they got added to their order is not Splenda brand sweetener. Remember, I said in the beginning that it sounded like at some point in time, and I think that sentence just sort of summed that up, at some point in time, they actually had those sweeteners in their shop. Now, I am not going to say that this is the case because I don't know that this is true. But you know that a lot of times when they switch out from the brand, from the real brand, from the name brand, to the unknown, to the manufactured overseas somewhere, to something that looks like what is the genuine thing, is money. Usually that's done because of money. The unknown, generic kind of looking thing is cheaper. There's a reason, probably, that there are a few reasons it's probably cheaper, but it's cheaper. And that's usually why companies make those kinds of decisions. This is certainly a decision that companies can make. There is nothing wrong with a company deciding to go with a cheaper product. It's the fakery that presents a problem. Because in this case, you've now misrepresented orally and through affirmations that this fake Splenda was real Splenda, and that was not the case. So again, a company can definitely choose to use different products, cheaper products, other products, but don't try to tell us it's something else, okay? And then you have all these counts that they're actually suing them for. Trademark infringement, federal trademark infringement, false designation of origin by letting people think, oh, it's made in America when it's not, and that it's made by this brand or this manufacturer, but it's not. And then you've got false advertising. Let's scroll down here and see what else they got in here. Look, there's the made in America thing when it was not, and they knew it was not. Unfair competition. Then fourth, this is violation of the Virginia Consumer Protection Act. Here's the corrective measure that they're asking them to take. Correct the misinformation in the marketplace that Peet's sucralose-based products are genuine Splenda brand sweetener products. Give notice to all Peet's customers that Peet's sucralose-based sweetener is actually sourced from China. Remember that source page we went back to? We did in the beginning. And it's not manufactured in the U.S. Like, this hurts their brand to have to go back and say, you know what? Yeah, somewhere along the line, that business decision was not a good decision. Provide defendant employees trainings, such training as reasonably necessary to prevent the misidentification of sucralose sweetener. See, sometimes when you show up at your job and all of a sudden there's a new training in place, this is why. All right, actual damages, they want statutory damages, they want profits, they want the cost of corrective advertising, punitive damages, treble damages, cost of the litigation, attorney's fees, and all other damages arising from unlawful and unauthorized use of Splenda. And I guess the only thing that I didn't get that I wanted were my pictures. I wanted my picture of the fake Splenda, but obviously I'm not getting it. So if you are in Virginia and you've been drinking at Peets, if you're one of those people who prefer Splenda over some of the other low calorie or no calorie sweeteners, and you're now like up in arms because of this fakery or purported fakery, as the litigation says, Now you know. You just are going to have to look at the package when you get it. It's apparently not enough to ask the other person, is that Splenda? Because they're going to say, maybe, you should look at it. Because they're going to say, basically, it's Splenda. Basically, it's a Toyota. And basically, they're probably wrong on this. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Mwah. Peace.